everybody, here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge.
What you're about to hear is real. For reasons we don't understand, they've decided to take this petty feud to our hastily put together forum. This is the 3-on-1 Court.
All rise. All persons having business with the Honorable 3-on-1 Court in the state of New Jersey, please come forward and be recognized. The Honorable Matthew Ryan presiding.
Please be seated. Good evening, everyone here. For reasons I necessarily don't understand, today's case is the case of Sin City versus Sin City. Representing Sin City is Chris Veira, and representing Sin City is Cory Hammond. Mr. Veira, due to a coin toss that I did by myself before the start of the broadcast, you get to open with your opening remarks. Please go ahead.
Well, I think this is a open and shut case, in my opinion. I know that it will be different for others. We won't say any names, Cory. The situation is pretty much a simple one. Las Vegas has been known as Sin City since 1940. We have had a few other nicknames, very few other nicknames, but Sin City has been the most prominent, and it is one that has been brought up in media. It is one that has been brought up nationally. It is one that has been brought up socially all over the U.S. Everybody knows Las Vegas is Sin City. I can, if you would like me to, I could point to the situation where we did an open poll on A7FL, and my question was simply this: when you hear Sin City, what city do you think of? 97% said Las Vegas. So in my mind, there is no other Sin City.
Mr. Hammond.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Veira. In remarks, as I wasn't going to object during an opening statement because it's really not suitable for a court like this with it standing, Your Honor. The
court would like to recognize
question,
how sweet he was. Continue.
Thank you. And thanks for acknowledging, Judge. The poll in question, Mr. Veira, if you mind me asking directly, what site was that posted to so that you could get the best, poll in regards to the demographics in an area that isn't just the locale that would probably side with your side? What website and what's the name of that specific group, Mr. Veira?
A7FL data.
And just a quick question: Would you agree that there might be a little bit of bias about which Sin City is Sin City when you post it to the Facebook group in question that is basically one in the same with the Nevada and Las Vegas division?
That's an interesting take, Mr. Hammond, considering that your witness voted on that site.
Sure, but and I don't want to make
but nothing, Mr. Hammond. If your witness,
gentlemen,
site,
this is Mr. Hammond's time. This is Mr. Hammond's time. He should not have been asking a question of opposing counsel.
You're right.
Get with it.
Anyway, so almost certainly Mr. Veira's focus in this proceeding will be about the unrelevant facts to this case, as you've just become witness to. Because unfortunately for the plaintiff and their case, the facts, which are indisputable, would and will never support their case in a court of any type of law. It is true, and similarly indisputable, that the Las Vegas Insomniacs are the superior team in regards to the Ohio team in question, the Sin City Chaos. They faced off head-to-head last year, and the result is factual, indisputable. And there is no dispute that the city of Las Vegas, as known as Sin with an S, City, and as eloquently stated by Mr. Veira, since the 40s. But this is not about the better team. It's not about the better division. Hell, it isn't even about which city is better or how long they've been known for what. None of these opinions matter at all and are totally immaterial to the question this court raises in this case. We are here to adjudicate the fair and proper use of the term Sin City as it relates to the A7FL, no? Because if the conversation was meant to encompass more than the league, one, each side would have better representation on a more appropriate platform, and two, any judge worth their robe would summarily dismiss such an infantile argument as has been voiced ad nauseum by plaintiff. Because only the plaintiff stands before you claiming a cease and desist. Only the plaintiff contends the exclusive use of a trademarked phrase that, as the evidence will show, will not end in a favorable outcome for Mr. Veira or the Vegas division as a whole. To start, sin with a C, city, is not a unique description of the city of Cincinnati's A7FL team. It is a term common to the locals of that region. Just like brought up by Mr. Veira, a quick Google search shows this with numerous clubs and businesses in the Cincinnati, Ohio area that use this moniker without fear or even a slight concern of legal repercussion, and have used this term long before either the existence of the Vegas or the Ohio teams in this league. The term, especially to those local to the Cincinnati area, is as synonymous with their city as sin with an S is to Vegas. Furthermore, the term Sin City isn't even solely exclusive to Vegas, even with an S. As maybe the most relevant reference in recent pop culture to the use of the term, the Frank Miller graphic novel Major Motion Picture is not a story about Las Vegas, but the fictional city of Basin City. And at least as of February 20th, 2024, as we record this, to my knowledge, there has never been any scrutiny, legal or otherwise, for the fair use of that same term spelled the exact same way that the plaintiff argues is unfair in this case. This doesn't even take into account the glaring and obvious hypocrisy of members of the city angry with the use of their iconic moniker, claiming it as synonymous with their city when that same city prominently features not just one, but at least two iconic synonymous symbols of other greater cities: the Eiffel Tower replica, which is synonymous with Paris, France, and the Statue of Liberty replica, which is precedence and just common sense. The fair use of the term the plaintiff's own division has yet to use themselves spelled differently enough to be unique and as synonymous with those local to the region as sin is to Las Vegas. The defense contends not that Vegas can't use the term, but S in that they have not used the term. There is no required remedy, legal or common sense wise, that ends with the chaos changing their name. In fact, every team requires a process to become an official A7FL franchise. That defense sits securely in the legal and moral high ground as the rightful Sin City in this league, with a C, of course, and all that noise to the contrary is meaningless as it has become tiresome. Judge, this case is about the merits of the arguments, not the emotions of the plaintiffs or the conjecture of what people think and what polls are taken on a Vegas mostly website. So I apologize for going over my time, but as is obvious by my opening statement, I think I'm treating this proceeding, Your Honor, with a little bit more seriousness than my opponent. I thank you.
For an opening statement in a case, you're great. For a comedy bit on a podcast, you know what?
Horrible.
Also great, because I honestly just loved watching the reactions in real time. So, Cory, 20 out of 20 on you. We will move on now. Mr. Veira, you were going to say something that was germane to the case, and then you can call your first and only witness.
This doesn't make any sense to me as an opening statement to bring up the fact, or should I say, the legality of a fictional book and a fictional city that has no relevancy being even brought up to in this case, considering we're talking about two real cities, two real places, two real names.
Your Honor, I would ask my opponent.
There is no reason, and I'm going to talk over you, Cory, because you wouldn't let me finish. There is no reason that a fictional place should even be brought up or used to make a point in anything when it comes to the legality of what we're talking about.
Have you finished, Mr. Veira? I don't want to talk over you again. I apologize.
I have finished, sir. You may.
I
say
think
what you
this
want.
case, Your Honor, is about the fair use of the term Sin City, is it not?
This would be a first for me to even hear what this case is truly about, considering nobody has told me.
What is your issue? What is the plaintiff's issue in this case, Mr. Veira? Just so that we are clear, since there seems to not be clarity for both sides.
Well, there's no clarity for both sides because nobody has brought up clarity for either side.
You are the plaintiff in this case, Mr. Veira. You have the issue with the use of Sin City.
We've never heard anything about Cincinnati being called Sin City. So now them coming out as Sin City after we've already been established.
Your Honor, is it usual for a witness in the case to make the argument for the opposing counsel?
No, but
would you like me to make the? I'll make it pretty clear.
My question is, if you are the plaintiff,
order. Good God, sweet baby backflipping. Okay.
Hey, Ribs.
Too hot. Mr. Veira, if you can address Cory,
the term Sin City,
you're on.
Why would use
I'm the
term
fucking
Sin
judge.
City
Shut up. So we are arguing. So the two arguments here, for those playing along at home, is that Chris believes, due to the fact that Sin City is the known moniker and has been the main focal point of capitalism for his town, that no other town should use it. Cory is saying, this is silly as shit, who cares, and his other examples. You can listen back to his opening statement on 2.5 speed, and you'll get to where we are now pretty quickly. So, I think we've all got that pretty much figured out. Mr. Veira, you get to call your witness. There is no surprise to it because, well, he arrived prematurely. Bailiff, swear him in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I've been known to lie to get my way.
I'll allow
Fair
it.
enough. Moving on.
He's pretty.
So, Mr. McCorkles, please state your name for the record.
Scott McCorkle,
What are you also known as?
the Viking.
And how long have you lived in Las Vegas?
Since I moved to Vegas in '99.
99. So
Yeah.
where did you reside prior to Las Vegas?
Detroit, Michigan.
So prior to your moving to Las Vegas, have you ever heard the term Sin City?
Of course.
And when you heard that term, where did you think of?
Las Vegas.
So when you now move and live in said city, and you think about other people using the term Sin City for a moniker, for a team, how does that make you feel first and foremost?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of silly. Like, I just never heard it before. And even being from that part of the country, I just never heard it. It felt like a slight towards Vegas because we already had an established team and there was already ill will towards us from the rest of the league anyway.
So when you think about Sin, C-I-N, city, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I mean, if I would say Cincinnati. Yeah.
Okay. So when you think about these things being used outside of the city of Cincinnati, do you have a problem with them using Sin City in their own city?
Honestly, if they were better, I think I wouldn't care.
Okay. So
I don't know. Like, I just think you can't take a shot at somebody and suck.
Okay. And then when you think about them using the name Sin City outside of Cincinnati, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Considering you and let me remind the court, please. He's not from Las Vegas.
They gotta beat us first. And we're talking about A7 stuff though, right? Because the rest of it, like anything outside of A7, like as far as A7 is concerned, like I think it's silly and I think it's disrespectful. But I'm speaking in just like A7 is our universe, right? Like in this part of the multiverse right now, like the Sin City.
Well, Mr. Hammond, let me just say the opposing counsel would make the argument that it is a stage that's bigger than A7. My stage that I'm talking about is A7. It has nothing to do with outside of A7, as Mr. Hammond would like everybody in here to think.
Yeah, I have no rhyme or reason to take issue with how somebody speaks about where they live or whatever. But I like on a football team, like, okay, yeah, no, you're just taking shots. And like honestly, hearing the backstory, okay, it kind of makes sense. I get it, but no, be better, make it a game. I don't know. You can't because like if you come in and take somebody's name, like, and then like if you're gonna try, like, it's almost like a bully move without the bully moves behind it. Like if they'd have come in, no, we're Sin City. We know y'all are known as Sin City, but we're really Sin City, and then came in and whooped our ass. Okay, all right, you got that. That's not what happened.
So the fact is, as I've stated, Mr. Hammond would like to come in and
for how I feel. I'm not going to sit here.
Well, no, you're a witness. You're a witness as to the way A7 in Las Vegas may feel, or
they
A7 Nevada may feel.
Strong, they feel a whole lot stronger about it than me. If you want me to echo what some of them say, I'm not going to be able to put this on YouTube.
The thing about it is, when we talk about this as an overall, my point being is, which is different than Mr. Hammond's. Mr. Hammond wants to argue the fact of the use of the name nationally. My argument is strictly an A7FL situation. And my thought of the whole thing is echoed with yours. If you want to use the name, you want to be the man, beat the man. Plain and simple. So,
yeah, like if they were like if they would have came in as the Cincinnati Chaos, and then they talked a bunch of shit like they did, running their mouth, and then beat us, and then the next year they came in and was like, no, we are the real Sin City Chaos. That shit would have been hard. Like you can't be mad at that. Like, okay, we just got to come beat you and take our name back.
The court would like to acknowledge that would have been dope as fuck. Please continue.
Right? Like I feel like that would have been the right way to go about it. Like this way, I kind of feel like it was like a sucker. It's like a sucker punch, but you missed.
The court will also acknowledge he does not think it's a sucker punch, but moving on.
Hurt. And now that I hear the backstory, that like I didn't know that they referenced their city like that. If I would have fucking known that, maybe it's because I'm not a well-traveled man. I'll admit that. I don't know. Like it kind of, all right, whatever. Like y'all still suck.
If we're doing an award show this year, and there's a best quote, 90% of the nominees are coming from Scott McCorkle. Any more questions, Mr. Veira?
No, sir. I rest my case with my witness.
Mr. Hammond, you may cross-examine and continue this delightful charade.
So it's
I'm
interesting.
about to get roasted.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that, Scott. And first of all, welcome to the 3-on-1 podcast. You're always a welcome guest.
I love you.
Shirt on or off, especially off.
Oh, hello.
For those watching at home, because they can see this, right, Matt?
Oh.
No.
Damn, I guess I'm not welcome. Okay, I see how you are, Cory.
Well, you have your shirt on, so whatever. No,
The court would like to acknowledge that. Please keep it above nipple level.
Okay.
Thank you. I feel like this is exactly
that's a
how
shame.
Zoom night court goes.
Oh, it's how day traffic court goes sometimes too.
So to refocus on the case, one of the things that Mr. Veira, opposing counsel, was saying is that the use of the term Sin City in a fictional book does not, have anything to do with this case. And I think the clarification was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scott or Chris, is that since this is an A7FL case, we shouldn't be talking about the use of the term as it relates to anything else nationally.
To clarify, it's like for our ability to say like somebody else can't use something like outside of A7. Like for me to for me to have an opinion on a mechanic shop in Cincinnati that calls itself the Sin City Mechanic Shop, like, would be fucking weird.
I agree that it would be really weird to have an opinion on a Sin City spelled differently, even when it refers to a mechanic shop. Thank you for that, Scott. But more specifically, when a person that has lived in Vegas your entire life, were you offended when that movie came out, Sin City, that it wasn't about Vegas?
Objection.
On what grounds?
He has not lived in Vegas his entire life.
Fair to say. Reframe, Mr. Hammond. Rephrase.
That's not how an objection works, Mr. Veira. But
it is
in your time.
Actually, it is the way an objection works, Mr. Hammond.
No, you have to.
When you are leading the witness,
that's
when
not
you are leading the witness as to how long he's been
both
in
of you
Vegas,
shut the
that is an objection.
Does it really matter?
I have to
All
watch
right,
some more
so
SVU.
regardless of how long you've been in Vegas, you said 1999. When were you born, Scott?
88.
So the majority of your life you've been in
Vegas?
Yeah,
like I said,
are you offended that I asked for most of your life or all of it? Whatever.
No, you said all of it, yeah.
Were you offended when the movie Sin City came out and it wasn't about Las Vegas? Is that an offensive thing to you to hear that things are named Sin City when they aren't Vegas specifically?
As it pertains to a non-competitive event that I'm not playing in, no.
All right, so fair. And let's refocus that, because you talked about the Cincinnati Chaos, the Sin City Chaos, as they are trademarked.
Right.
And that you felt that the name was a slight towards your division.
Yes, 1,000%.
Why would you feel that when the name of the team is made preseason and there was no instance in which the Ohio teams, the Cincinnati teams, the Columbus teams, or anyone knew that Sin City would be playing Las Vegas in the Final Four? What makes you think that was
because
done
the Ohio
particularly
division, because the road to the championship leads through Ohio. It's been played up since the beginning because we knew that's how the bracket was going to line up. It wasn't about an Insomniacs thing. It was about somebody from our division. We knew LA wasn't going to beat us out to make it to Ohio. We knew that. In our heart, we knew that. We also knew Ohio wasn't going to beat us. But the fact that they were standing in our way, and this was how it played out to us, because we don't know the timing on things and stuff like that.
And you said that already, so let me just move it along.
Sure.
So your contention is that the Sin City Chaos came up with their name solely because it would antagonize the people from Las Vegas in the Nevada division?
I mean, it's some shit I would
Objection.
do, so yeah, that's kind of how. Yeah, that's how I took it. Yeah, that's
I
some
will
shit I would
What's
object
your
to that.
objection?
Speculative. He's saying that
It was a direct question.
No, the direct question was not.
is on your witness who is saying that he knows what another team is saying when they're filing the trademark.
Mr. Hammond, let Mr. Veira finish.
Objection.
Please.
I'll also say that
My
more times I say it,
objection. My objection is simply for the speculation part, where he's asking Mr. McCorkle to speak for an entire division
Mr.
as
Hammond,
far
can you
as
speak?
naming
Did I ask
somebody.
Scott? Did I ask
reframe?
you to speak for your division, or I asked for you to speak for yourself?
No, this is just me speaking. No.
But when I
that-
asked you, to be clear, when I asked you, did I ask you to speak for your division or to speak for yourself in using your words that you just said?
I think you just asked me plainly, and I responded as if you were speaking.
So I'm not
to
sure what is leading or what the objection's
Objection
about.
overruled.
Thank you.
Objection
So-
overruled.
I apologize, Scott, because you're doing a great job and I appreciate you. So
Oh no,
your contention is that the name, hypothetically, based on what you just said, just you,
Right.
is that the name was specifically done as a shot at Vegas.
That's what I would have thought, because it would have been the best. It would have been such a dope fucking storyline.
Also
Not saying
true.
it was like an ill intention.
Also true.
Like,
But
not saying.
what if the
because
Covington
I'm
Heist
not
were the
saying
number
it was
one
like
team?
a bad intention thing or anything like that.
But let's continue down the line of thought. What if the Covington Heist were the Final Four team from Ohio? Would you be less offended by the Sin City Chaos's existence as Sin City?
We never would have been in conversation with them. We would have
So
never taken that.
so that wouldn't have been an important factor to you whatsoever.
I don't think it would have caught my eye once somebody brought it up. I would have talked shit like you guys have that. Like, I would have talked shit about it, but I don't think it would have become a big thing. But because they ended up being the representative from there, I think it just added fuel to the fire. Like, I think this
But
is
it's also
something
fair to say that before we knew the matchup, even though, as you said, you kind of knew that it might be Ohio because you beat LA. This was not done mid-season when the Sin City Chaos knew that they were going to be the class of the division. They're an expansion team. They might have been worse. So when you think back, when they were forming the team name, if this wasn't something that would have bothered you, if it was not the team that ended up facing you, do you understand where someone might be coming from naming a team Sin City? Because as it is known, and as you admitted in your answers to Mr. Veera's questions, Sin City knows their city as Sin City with a C. Are you on your computer right now? Are you on your computer right now?
Yeah.
Do you have your phone handy?
But also,
you have your phone handy.
I understand your point, but and to your point, maybe I'm looking at this coming from the type of background that I've come from. If you say I have a nickname, right? Like my name is Sin City, and I'm in a gathering place, right? And like there's another guy with the same nickname, and it comes to a butting heads thing, and we fight, and I win. That's my nickname.
And that's your opinion.
That's my nickname.
Has your opinion ever been known to be an undisputable fact in any situation?
It should not be. I hope to God not.
So let me just ask you this. Do you have your phone handy?
Yeah.
Since you were not aware before these proceedings, would you mind pulling up your phone and Googling real quick CIN City and see if anything comes up that would be relevant to the city of Cincinnati?
I mean, I'll do it, but it makes sense. Like, I'll do it. I believe that. I understand, and I'm trying to make that very clear. That now that I get it. It makes sense. I understand that, but at the same time, y'all still suck. So like, maybe don't use the name.
Their ability to play football, should that have anything to do with
in the
what
A7?
They are,
yes,
are
because
legally
I'm not talking about
licensed to be named?
It should, as far as
this
their ability
This isn't
to
like
market,
Vegas Wednesday flag.
Mr. Hammond, Mr. Hammond, you're badgering the witness. You can meerkat him. You can lemur him. You can even, sheep him. But don't badger the witness.
It's a fair point, but also like if they were good, they wouldn't have to piggyback off of like the Sin City name to make their team relevant. Like I don't think the conversation, like, and I'm just saying that to talk shit at this point. Like I understand it behind the name, but now that it's become an issue, we will gamble the Sin City name on it, like A7, like a Sin City thing on it. We're willing to put it up. Are you? That's the only question.
Let me ask you just this final question, because I do have a lot more, and I love talking with you, Scott.
Childish. Because it's super childish. I understand that, but
honestly, just as the court has seen and let the record show that the witness chosen by Mr. Veira to dispute his side of the case has agreed with me multiple times that he sees where this defense and the defense is coming from. But let me ask you
because
this.
I understand that I see that you have a point doesn't mean I agree with it. I see your point. I don't agree.
Fair. And and I'm not asking you to agree or disagree, but I will ask you this, since this really is the crux of the case. It seems that to the plaintiff and yourself, who's a relatively close to lifelong resident, is that okay, Chris?
Yeah.
Resident of Vegas, that this name seems to mean something to you, the Sin City name. Does it not?
Yeah, we have a lot of pride in our city.
So can I ask you this really simple question as it relates to the A7FL? Because this, am I right? This is a national league, and we're talking about this as a league-wide conversation, and we'll keep it to the A7FL. Uh-huh. But this is a national league, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, so if the Sin City name means so much to the city of Las Vegas, and from what I gather, both from the division manager and the player that is a player on the city, and I don't want to speculate anybody else, just talking about a representative that's high management and one of the voices of the division. Mm-hmm. If the name means so much to you, Chris Veira, and the division, why are none of the 8 Vegas teams licensed and registered as trademarks named Sin City?
And
we would change it. We would change it. We didn't have
any answer the question. The question is
hold on,
is
Scott.
one of your teams...
Guys, please.
Corey, because you're talking about registered names. You, who is a voice, since you like to say that, a part of A7, should know that one of the names for Vegas was Sin City Snake Eyes. That was one of the names that was not chosen to be used.
Right. Is that one of the 8 teams that was chosen to be used by the division, Chris Veira?
There was 12 names that were given to us that we actually had a big part of picking, and Sin City Snake Eyes was one of them. Sin City Snake Eyes was not one of the names that was chosen to be used by the coaches, and we let them make that decision.
So you're clarifying that even with the choice of choosing Sin City as one of the team names, that the Vegas division and managers and upper management chose against using the name Sin City as one of the names?
Wrong.
So one of the names of your teams is known as Sin City?
Sin City Snake Eyes. And as I said,
that's an active and usable name in
can
this
you
division
let me
has
finish,
existed?
Mr. Hammond, instead of continuing to
You're
talk
acting
over
like
me?
We could be arguing. This could be some real life like shit where we're arguing about some shit that really had nothing to do with anybody that's actually doing the arguing, which is hilarious to me. It makes it even more entertaining because
Sweetie Pie, that's the bit.
Yeah,
the no, bit like this is what I love. Like this is why I love it. This is hilarious.
Well,
portions of it is funny as hell to me, but other portions are like, why are we getting so serious about something that isn't really that serious?
Why is Cory trying to win the argument? What a weirdo.
Oh, Cory Hammond trying to win something.
What?
You wrote a novel for that opening argument.
I started reading The Athletic.
I apologize that I put effort into this.
No, there's a difference between putting effort in. All right, hold on. We have lost sight of ourselves here.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Brent Smothers to the stand. Bailiff.
Hey, Judge, put up your book.
Bailiff.
Someone wake up Alex.
I'm here. Mr. Smothers, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this case should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Hammond.
Thank you for your quick response to the subpoena, Mr. Smothers. I know that at times it is unsavorable to hear both the 3-on-1 and the other side of the ball talk trash about the Ohio division. I talked specifically to Robert. I'm going to say Mingy now because I'm going to avoid the other pronunciation. And he was saying that no chaos are allowed on shows, but I really appreciate you coming on to be a witness in this case, sir. Now, as plaintiff contends, when you hear the term Sin City with an S used to describe Las Vegas, you hear that and also fairly hear Sin City with an S, and the first thing you think of is Las Vegas, yes or no?
Yeah.
And as far as you are aware, is that nickname spelled for the record in your city the same way as Sin City?
No, around here they spell it with a C.
Gotcha. So let the record show that it's C-I-N City, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, how long have you lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, Brent?
I actually live 5 minutes, like right across the river. But I've lived in this area for going on 26 years.
So it's almost in reference to some of the things that we heard, Mr. McCorkle say, and in a court of law, Scott, you should go by your, given name, so you're not looking shady. Mr. Skarsgård, to be clear, Mr. Bjorn Skarsgård. You got to stop hiding from that, Scott. In all your years living in Cincinnati area, have you ever heard of Cincinnati being referred to as Sin City with a C?
Yeah, there's actually the Cincinnati Reds have used it a couple times. There's a couple different businesses around here that use it. It's kind of grown into a thing.
So a Major League Baseball team has used the nickname in their marketing towards the public, to your knowledge?
Yes.
And in those promotions, how is it spelled? With an S?
It's with a C.
Okay. Well, plaintiff contends and will argue that everyone knows Vegas as Sin City with an S. Would it also be fair to say that everyone in Ohio knows Cincinnati as Sin City with a C in the same vein?
It would be.
To your knowledge, have any professional teams used Sin City in their marketing with an S that are from the city of Las Vegas?
No.
And that's just to your knowledge. Obviously, you're not an expert in these things, but it was just, that's just interesting to hear. Now, in regards to the A7, so that we're hyper focused in these proceedings, when the chaos were created and the name and trademark paperwork were filed, as far as you are aware, because you know the division manager and you're I guess runner of the team, was there any issue in the filing of that name Sin City in regards to trademark or copyright infringement?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
To Scott's point,
Hey, Cory, can you repeat that question? You broke up for a minute.
In regards to the A7, when filing for the name Sin City, was there any issues in filing for that name in regards to trademark or copyright infringement?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, in reference to what Scott was saying, since you were part of naming this team, was there any inherent bullying or antagonizing going on that you wanted to specifically shoot your shot at Vegas preseason when you didn't know you were going to win the division?
No, I had no part in helping name the team. We were just given three options. It was the Cincinnati Chili's, the Cincy Sevens, and the Sin City Chaos. And out of those three, which one would you choose?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a fair
So
point.
so there was no ill intent on your part either.
No. Not
Fair.
at all.
And just to be clear, the Chaos are known officially and trademarked, licensed, all that, as Sin City with a C. That you guys aren't just making that up in mid-season saying that you originally were Cincinnati and then you were like, oh well, screw Vegas, and then changed it.
Yeah, so to my understanding, it was already it's trademarked as the team. From day one, we have been the Sin City Chaos with the C.
Now, your Ohio division is focused around two kind of centralized city-ish spots, right? What are the names of the teams in Ohio, if you don't mind me asking?
Like the professional teams.
No. For the A7FL, we'll just keep it to the
I'm sorry.
A7FL. Yeah.
The Covington Heights, which is located in Covington, Kentucky, right across the river. The QC Crush, the Queen City Crush. And that's all we have for right now. The other ones that are available are the Cincy Sevens and the Cincinnati Chili's.
Well, that's just for Cincinnati, but there's also the Olentangy
Yeah.
volcanoes, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway, so the point is that to have some flavor and you guys should actually be lauded for this. Cincinnati and Columbus didn't just go Cincinnati. You guys tried to differentiate it up and added a little bit of spice to it to sound cooler, right?
Yeah.
So that would really kind of take out this malevolent, hypothetical that you guys did this as a slight to the air quotes real Sin City with an S, right?
Yeah, there was no slight towards any other area at all with the name.
Since this is a national league, since part of the argument for Mr. Veira and the plaintiff is that it's known as Sin City everywhere, since Cincinnati is known as Sin City to you guys, there was no ill will in naming the team. You were given options and you picked the one that sounded coolest, not this mid-season change, which would have been interesting and potentially a lot of shit talk, and then maybe the Vegas division would have something to say. So would you agree that the plaintiff's case is neither relevant or even close to the licensed parties, as Vegas team has no name Sin City when given the opportunity? You guys chose a Sin City with a C. They chose not to choose Sin City with an S. Would you agree that there's really no basis in the claims that they're making that they should have Sin City when they were offered Sin City and didn't take it?
I would agree.
I object
yes.
to one thing. Scott keeps drinking, making me thirsty. Sorry.
Let the record show that Mr. Skarsgård is drinking. That is a sustained objection.
Also, we really didn't. I don't remember when we said they shouldn't be called Sin City, but I know it really started after we beat them. So it's more like I thought. I don't see how Vegas is. It was more.
Mr. McCorkle, you're cool.
I have something to say.
Listen, this is totally improper, and it's bad for your side's case. So
just me.
No, okay, it may be improper, but it doesn't mean my point when I get to it eventually.
Fine.
Through all my stuttering,
It's bad.
Be invalid.
But it's bad for your side's case. You are agreeing with my defense.
You're making.
Your Honor, can I speak?
Sure, why the fuck not?
Hey, thank you. I will say they did not start after the belts to ass moment that Vegas gave the chaos. It happened beforehand, especially with them showing up to the game with shirts that said the real Sin City and it had CIN right here X'd out, and then
that's funny.
That's awesome, by the way. First of all, I do not want our league to not have things like that. However, this case is not about the fair.
I don't think we brought.
Vegas.
Oh, that was my point. I don't think we brought like a case forward. Like I understand
this is a fair
I don't
use
understand how
case.
we're plaintiffs because we didn't want to bring it to no type of legal action. That's not how we go about things. We wanted to just have it like a fun, like let's have like a title thing. It's like the BMF thing in the UFC. It's not an official fucking title, but it's a title nonetheless. Okay, cool. This should be a cool competition. This would be a cool thing to lay on the line every year. Let's lay this on the line. Let's make this the battle for the real Sin City. That's what we wanted to turn this into.
But Scott, the real issue here, and again, this isn't necessarily proper, but whatever. The real issue here isn't that would be cool. We all agree with that, and I think if a team that is licensed and is a trademark by the league that has that name decided that they were willing to put it up, that would be an interesting stake. The case that we are discussing here is the fair use of the term Sin City as the use of it. And just the use of it has become a talking point that the other side of the ball and the 3-on-1.
I didn't realize it was all that serious.
Well, that's why we're here, because there's been four
Scott, in all
consecutive
honesty, it
episodes
wasn't all that serious,
focus
but
solely around
somehow
this.
that's the direction it got taken.
I mean, why did we do this if it wasn't serious?
Clear it up, clean it up, clean it up. Do you have any more questions?
Anyway, I have 0 questions left for Mr. Smothers, and I thank you and your team's service as whipping boys. Hopefully, all of that torture and beatdowns will lead to a hardening, because iron sharpens iron. Remember that. And hey, if you guys take care of business, maybe you get the rematch where we can really put this up on the line. But thank you for your time. Mr. Veira, I leave you to cross-examine the witness.
Thank you, Cory.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Wow, he put himself on mute. That's going to be interesting. Let's see how long he does that for. So, Mr. Smothers, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Fair to middling. Can't complain. Trying to get over a cold. So, Sin City, CIN, not SIN. Let's, make that a situation that we can hang our hat on. Now, you told the court earlier that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Cincinnati Reds used CIN in their marketing material a couple of times. What would you say is a couple of times?
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't follow every single post that they post, but for the past 4 or 5 years, I'd say I see at least 1 or 2 on my Instagram feed.
So with that being used, we know that they're the Cincinnati Reds, and with them using that, does that somehow validate the use of CIN within the city?
Yeah, they're a professional sports team.
So because they're a professional sports team and they use it once or twice a year, that validates the use of it within the city.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that a city like Las Vegas using Sin City from 1940, would that validate Vegas using Sin City as their moniker?
With an S, yes.
Okay. Well, the thing about it is when we talk about the two cities and we talk about sin, nobody sits there and
Objection.
says,
Is there a question in the future, Your Honor? This sounds like a
Pot calling the kettle
speech.
black, but
big time.
but please, Mr. Veira, for the sake of everyone here, please.
I'm getting to a question, Your Honor. I'm getting to a question.
I know, just
but
quicker we can get home.
I got you. Plus, I got to go pack for tomorrow, so I will try to hurry things along. Even though it seems like me getting cut short compared to my counterpart to my left. Yep. Thank you.
Let the record show I've objected less times than Mr. Veira. Thank you.
That it's noted in the record, and please just continue instead of filibustering.
So, Mr. Smothers, what it comes down to is this. When you're talking about Sin City, period, not SIN, not CIN, do you see all the time where people, when they say Sin City, they're going to talk about Cincinnati and say, Sin City, the one that starts with an S, or the one that starts with a C. Vegas, Sin City, the one that starts with an S. Or is it simply just Sin City?
Well, to refer back to what was said earlier by, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would say it was either you or your witness. People in the area call it.
Sir, I didn't ask about people in the area. I
You're not
asked
letting me
about
finish.
overall.
You're not letting me finish.
Go ahead.
So I would say overall in Las Vegas, yes. Sin City, more than half of the United States, yes. With an S, SIN city, that's Las Vegas. Being from Cincinnati, if I see SIN, yeah, that's Las Vegas. But being in the area of Cincinnati, if I see it with a C, I'm going to think Cincinnati.
I did, but that wasn't my question, sir. My question was simply the use of Sin City. I didn't specify with an S or with a C. I specified Sin City.
I'm gonna give the witness some bail here because you were opaque on purpose. Clarify.
No, it wasn't opaque on purpose. I started that question when Mr. Hammond objected, and you told me to hurry up with my question. So I tried to hurry up with my question. That was my original question. When we're talking about Sin City, nobody nationally recognizes the S or the C. It is simply the term Sin City. I'm basically telling the judge what he was asking me about. It wasn't a question. He said I left it opaque on purpose. No, I didn't. That was my point that I was trying to make. When we talk about Sin Cities, and Mr. Smothers, when we talk about Sin Cities, there is no defining point on, or would you say nationally, not in your backyard, nationally, when we talk about Sin City as a whole, is there a defining point nationally when you hear Sin City? Do you hear people nationally say, oh, I'm talking about Sin City, Cincinnati, CIN, or I'm talking about Las Vegas, SIN, or is it simply the Sin City portion?
In this region, they see it.
I didn't ask you this region. I said nationally.
I'm answering the question. Take my answer. Fine.
I am not. I don't have to take your answer if it is not an answer to my question.
The counsel's badgering the witness because he doesn't like the question. Like he doesn't like the answer to his question.
Allow the answer. And if it's not some, you can ask a question upon redirect. Mr. Smothers, please. You can finish your answer unless you're finished.
Yeah. So in this area, in this part of the United States, Detroit has sports teams. Vegas is just now getting sports teams. In this area, I would say from West Virginia to about Tennessee, as far north as Toledo, Ohio. If you hear Sin City, if you see Sin City and it has a C, Cincinnati. I can't speak for the majority.
But that's exactly what Mr. Hammond asked my witness to do, was to speak for the majority. So I'm asking you to speak for the majority. When you hear, or when somebody hears Sin City, doesn't see it, I never asked about it being written down. When
Objection.
somebody
Do we need
hears,
to ask the question over and over again until the witness answers the way
The
Mr.
witness
Veira
is
wants?
I was told
the
to
witness
redirect.
Witness has been given an answer. You are able to ask a redirect, and then one more question, and that's it.
And that's what I was doing. So when we talk about nationally within the United States, and I'm not talking about writing it down, I'm talking about hearing it. When somebody says Sin City, who are they talking about?
I can't speak to the majority. For the majority.
Why not? That's exactly what Mr. Hammond did when he asked mine. So,
Because I don't know everybody's opinions, Chris.
okay.
It's a fair enough answer.
All right. So it's a fair enough answer. I will give you that. And I would say that Cory Hammond stated to you that the Chaos would not be in their top 10. He then asked you to name 7 teams that you felt you could beat. What are the 2 teams that you mentioned right away without mentioning any others?
I think it was the Insomniacs, and it was one other Vegas team. I can't think of that off the top of my head.
Stick with it. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you remember saying
pretty
stick
sure I
with it?
said I had to watch more film on the stick with it, but continue.
Okay.
Relevance.
So, well, can I get there,
Objection.
please?
Relevance. Can you just?
Yeah,
That's what Matt just said.
Get to your point, counselor.
So my point being is, with the way that things are broken down, it would seem that Brent Smothers has said in more than one occasion that he felt that his teams were better than the Vegas teams. Therefore, how do we know that, and I'll play it like Cory played it, how do we know that Cincinnati, the Sin City part of Cincinnati, wasn't done maliciously? As he has talked about our teams viciously and said that, like he just said, he doesn't have we don't play defense, and we've never seen a defense like his. And out of a top 10 teams, he brought up 2 of Vegas's teams right away to talk about us in a, how should we say, negative light.
Can I object? What does this have to do with anything about a name?
Yeah, that's not even a question. But anyway, just answer. Just answer
there is
it.
there's no relevance. There's no relevance there unless you're leading to a question, or you can add, if that's a part of your closing statement, that's fine. But there's seemingly no relevance here to the witness. It just seems like you're trying to set up a situation where it seemingly confrontational. So if you have a question, if not, we can let the witness stand down and thank him for his time.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. That was such a fucking waste.
Thanks, Brent. All right, final statements, whichever. Chris, just go first.
I don't know what else can be said about this. It seems like the situation that we're talking about has been taken from a, how should we say, laughable situation to a more serious situation, back to a laughable situation. It is what it is. The Sin City name has been a moniker for Las Vegas for what, damn near 80 years. And we're in a situation now where, Vegas is becoming more and more a sports city. As far as what has been brought to light, or should I say what has been the argument on this, is the fact of Sin City with an S compared to Sin City with a C. But the fact of the matter is, when people hear rather than see, we know that Sin City is always going to be the moniker of Las Vegas, not for Cincinnati. Now, Cory brought up the fact of the name being a registered trademark. Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is the argument has never been one of a registered trademark or anything else. The argument was pretty much what my witness said, and that is the fact that it would have been something to have the Sin City name, and Vegas comes to Sin City, they blow us out, and they're like, hey, that's our name now, which would have been friggin' out of this world. I'll admit it. It would have been friggin' something to see. This whole fact of us doing this court thing to try to get to the bottom of the Sin City name and the use of Sin City, to me, it's neither here nor there. When I hear Sin City Chaos, it'll always be Cincinnati Chaos to me. I know of only one Sin City, and that's Las Vegas. So you can bring up the C, you could bring up the S, and you could say whatever you would like. The fact of the matter is, Sin City is my home city. I wasn't born here; I was raised here. And when anybody thinks about Sin City, I don't care where you are in the U.S., it is always going to be Las Vegas. Now, Brent and Cory can make the argument that, well, when it's written down with a C, everybody thinks about Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati is Cincinnati and Cincy. I've never heard, and just because I'm on the West Coast, might be why I've never heard Cincinnati used as Sin and called Sin City. I've heard it called Queen City. I've heard it called multiple names. I've never heard the use of Sin being part of the Sin City name for Cincinnati. So Cory will do what Cory does, and he'll try to say that the situation shows and it's bared out the fact that Vegas shouldn't have a problem with Cincinnati being used for the name. And there is some validity to that within their own backyard. But nationally, there's only one Sin City. And just because Vegas doesn't have the use of Sin City in a name that is one of the legacy teams at this moment, if the expansion continues, then we will have Sin City Snake Eyes. So that is an argument for another time, if and when that happens. So all I'm saying is the situation is as it is. We have said, or Cory has brought up the fact of it being a national thing and nothing was ever done legally against Cincinnati. Why would there be? We're talking about monikers, we're talking about names. And in this situation, Cory could say, however he wants to about this. My co-counsel or my counsel on the other side can say what he wants about the situation. And I know he will. And the situation will be one where he doesn't feel that there's anything wrong with it. And in truth, if it is a registered name for Cincinnati, what can I say about that? It is a situation where instead of this kind of being a little bit lighthearted and having some fun with it, we went a little bit deeper, and that's fine. If we are going to sit here and go back and forth about the Sin City name, I would be on the side of Viking, and I would say, then let's have some fun with it. Put up a belt, winner takes home the belt, winner takes home the name. Brent, you said that there's teams that you felt you could beat in Vegas. Then let's do that. We might actually do that, in all honesty. You guys get to the playoffs, we get to the playoffs, and you face a Vegas team, and we could put up the name. Winner take it all. And no, I don't mean to strip it from the trademark as far as the trademark's concerned, because A7FL isn't going to let that happen. But winner takes home the rights to the name of Sin City as far as the players are concerned.
Cory?
Thank you, Chris. And obviously, I've said enough. I always talk too much, but let's be clear. The conversation and the case that was brought before you, Your Honor, and public at home jury, is should the Sin City Chaos be able to use the name Sin City when, as the plaintiff contends, Sin City is synonymous with his city? The evidence provided is all simply conjecture, opinion, and anecdotal. There is no facts that have been stated by the plaintiff in their case about any of the questions that have been posed to the court, number one. Number two, both the witness and the opposing counsel have already, in their statements to this point, conceded to the fact that Sin City, as a licensed name in this league, should be used and does not need to be anything other than accepted by everyone else within the league. This is a national league, and thus being a national league, it is not just the opinion of those local to Vegas in which what teams should be called. But I think, and I'll end with this because obviously I've talked enough. And first of all, apologies to everyone here. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to take this seriously. I literally end every episode of this podcast with "I'll try." Anyone that assumed that I wasn't going to, in a fake court case, just approached it incorrectly. So I do apologize for taking it seriously.
Fair. That's our fault.
I do apologize for taking this seriously. And yes, this is me having fun. But
I enjoyed it.
I leave the court with this. This is not an issue that the 3-on-1 podcast brought up. It is an issue that Chris Veira, specifically as division manager of Nevada, the players in Nevada brought up in the week leading up to the game against Sin City, to the point where, as evidenced by my witness's testimony, shirts were made about this whole thing. The witness has accurately and under oath admitted that when the name was picked, it had nothing to do with Vegas at all. Scott McCorkle, the witness for the opposing counsel, admitted that if the Covington Heist won the Ohio Championship and played the Insomniacs, this would be a non-issue. The defense has never claimed that Sin City cannot be used by Vegas. But it's interesting, when, out of turn, the opposing counsel was talking about this specific issue. He damned himself further by saying Sin City was an available, usable name for the teams in Las Vegas to choose. Yet it was not important enough to them then to choose that name 8 times. And it only became an issue for whatever reason, however petty or insignificant or as crybaby as it sounds, it only became an issue when they saw Sin City was their opponent in the Final Four in Columbus. So I rest my case with this. If it's such an issue having someone else choose the name, why didn't the division as a whole ever choose the name itself with 8 opportunities to do so? I rest my case, Your Honor. And thank you to the court for all of this.
Well, all right. I'm going to go talk to my botanist and figure some shit out. Zach, you're in charge.
All right, let's take a look at listen and hear what some of the crowd had to say about that. Sir, if I may, just a quick question here. Can you believe what has been brought before this kangaroo court today?
I don't know what to believe anymore, frankly. I just listen, and whatever I hear, if it entertains me, it entertains me. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I tuned out and I tuned back in, and I feel like somehow we're on a completely different court case every 5 minutes.
Excellent. Based on that, who do you think has the edge in this current court case right now that we were just talking about?
Definitely one of the two sides, I'll tell you that.
Wonderful. Let's see if we can get someone else from the peanut gallery to answer some questions. Sir, a moment of your time, please. Sir, I don't know if you saw, but the judge was acting during testimony. Does that make this bullshit make any sense?
No, none of this makes any sense at all. I don't understand at all. Who is the father in this case? I was promised a parody suit. I was promised Judge Steve Harvey. Instead, I got night court and trademarks. Like, what is this?
Do you think it was Mr.
Wrong courtroom.
Do you think it was Mr. Hammond's strategy to bore us to death? This is a long-winded opening statement that said almost nothing.
I took a nap during that statement, still got up, and he was still talking.
If I may.
Excellent.
His strategy might not be to intentionally bore the audience. I think he just has to do it for himself. I think eventually he just talks enough and he realizes, oh no, the Cory clock has been going.
Thank you for participating in this question from across the room again, sir. I was appreciating that.
I just want folders with who the father is in it. That is what I want.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to step away from the peanut gallery. It seems as though the gallery and the audience is just as dumb as the people arguing and presiding over this case. Please get me the fuck out of here. I need a new job, and I need a way to jump off a bridge. Matthew?
Bring me back, bailiff.
All rise again for this dumb son of a bitch.
Thank you, my ride. It's gonna be a fun drive on the turnpike. All right, be seated. I've looked over the evidence and have found some interesting precedent going back to the state of Florida versus the state of New Jersey. And I have to go with the defense here because of one thing and one thing only. The Patterson U. When you think of the U, you think of the University of Miami. But in the A7FL, when you think of the U, you think of the Patterson U. So with that and the precedent set forth and Mr. Smothers saying that the name was provided to them by National and not by anyone else, and without any overarching idea of them bringing forth any kind of bias or any kind of bile, I have to go with the defense, but with a caveat. The opportunity should be there for a game between both sides to decide this. But it should be adjudicated in neutral territory in between the Sin City Chaos and a team with the same regular season record to create competitive balance. And if it is the Insomniacs are sick with it, so be it. But if we are going to properly adjudicate this, if we are going to properly present this, and also the loser has to be pied in the face by the opposing counsel while also dressed as a bunny. That's my ruling. Take it, leave it, or go fuck yourself. I really don't care. None of this mattered. Absolutely none of this mattered.
It mattered to me.
We're gonna still. Of course it mattered to you.
I get to be a
You
furry,
showed up in a full suit.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I lost? Damn it. What do you mean? The hell is
Let's
this?
go back to jail.
I think we're both
No,
going back
no.
to jail.
Can I at
No,
least
you
get
guys
put in
aren't going-
handcuffs?
Guys, that's
No,
not how
and by the way, you're
guys,
the
that's not
small
how
spoon
civil
to my
court works.
big spoon. Oh, we're not. Oh,
I was hoping
thought
I was
this
going to end up in handcuffs.
This was a plaintiff defense. This was a civil case.
Oh.
There was no criminal defendant. There's no prosecutor.
I mean,
Only
you
civil
guys are
cases.
saying
we're not going to jail?
Damn it.
No,
You're not getting the
going to
name of
jail.
Sin City, even though you turned it down when offered. But no, you're not going to jail.
We just want to.
And on that note, that closes 3-on-1. Here's a 3-on. Thank you so much to Brent Smothers. Brent, where can we find your podcast?
You can find it on YouTube, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at Unscripted Cincy. Comes out every Monday at midnight.
It was going to be called Unscripted Sin City, but we knew that would cause an issue, and we wanted to make sure this was adjudicated
I
first.
hope he changes it to that. I would.
I'll do
That
a
would be
big
the-
letter.
I would watch
That would be
every
the
week if
perfect
you did.
postscript.
Listen, that
With it.
the next episode at minimum should be "We Are the Real Sin City" according
Yes,
to Matt
it
Ryan.
has to be. Tag
And
me
then
in
there's
that.
another
I
rivalry
was there.
started, and we can have other great shows with great content.
But we could have fun with that, and I could say nobody would find it because everybody would put in SIN instead of CIN.
And
in Vegas, yes.
And there this thing of
We
ours.
can't
You can
spell.
listen to Chris and Scott every Wednesday night live at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern on the Other Side of the Ball YouTube channel. And you can find their podcast on RSS feeds all across the globe. I want to thank the Silberman brothers and Cole Cardella. And I want to thank our announcer, Zach Morgan. Zach, where can people find your musings in podcasting?
Under a rock.
On that note,
Hey, Cory,
Yes, sir.
love you.
Love you too.
hugs, kisses, and baba booies. We tried our best to not be assholes this episode. Don't take us as an example. And please, don't be an asshole.
Well, I was told to try at this, so I tried, and as always,
Weird. I was told to have fun with it.
you said
That might
good
have-
luck via text as if you were coming after me. I prepared more strength.
Did you really?
The bell rang, for Christ's
I'll
sake.
try.
Just say the thing.